Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Sunday night Satsang with myself, John Homewood.
And myself, Michelle McLuhan. Hi, everybody. Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Okay, just checking.
There we go. Now we went live, I believe by mistake, a little bit earlier. So hopefully some of you had a laugh if you managed to see that one. That's good to laugh. It really is. Yeah. So good evening. And tonight we're going to be looking at a very important subject, and that's to make love, not war. And obviously most of you will know why we are talking about that. And we're going to go a little bit deeper into why we should focus on love rather than war at this time. So thank you for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time and you haven't subscribed to our channel, can you please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube? And if you're on Facebook, you can like and share this. It helps get the word out there. And if you do subscribe on Facebook, don't forget to press the bell so that you get notifications as well. And we love getting the hearts, so thank you for those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the satsang, we always start out with a meditation, it's a centering meditation, and that clears our mind for the evening so that we can be channels of light for the world and for our surroundings, for our immediate family and friends, but also for the world around us.
I think it's really important that we have these gatherings right now, anytime, but especially now with what's going on the planet. So thank you for joining us if you are joining us.
Yeah.
We're still just waiting for a few more people to join, and then you can start your check-in meditation.
So if you're watching, can you can you just type up your name so we know who's watching, where you're watching from? We love to know that we're not talking to a blank screen here, that we've got actually humans on the other side watching us. So if you can do that, that would be really good. And the structure, we start with the meditation, the centering meditation. Are you going to share anything from an astrological point of view? You will?
Yes.
Good. So Michelle will share some very, very valuable information regarding the planets at this time, and then we will share a little bit of insights into tonight's topic, and then Michelle will center us before going out with one of her really beautiful visualizations, meditations. So stick around till the very end, and we always give you an affirmation card, which is a way of focusing our attention, our awareness, our thoughts, and our feelings for the week ahead. So do stay right to the end for that.
Yeah, do let us know who's joining. Thanks for letting us know. Welcome Corinna, Claire, Sarah Dwin, Arlette. Hi. Nice to see you all. Well, we can't see you, but we know you're here. That's wonderful. Thank you. And if you're joining us for the first time, just let us know where you are.
We've got Janet. And we've got Tessa.
Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And we've got Anne with us here in our lounge.
Yes. Yeah. We are not having it in our normal in Michelle's studio that we normally film in, because we have a lovely log fire going here tonight in the lounge.
Not to make everybody jealous.
Lovely log fire.
It's a really nice log fire.
Yeah. So let's start this evening by centering ourselves down into the present moment, the most sacred place in all of creation. And for many, Sunday is a sacred day, and the most sacred temple that we can ever inhabit isn't necessarily a building built by men, but in fact the temple that's created by life, which is our physical body. So gently relax yourselves, close your eyes if you want to, you don't have to. But if you do close your eyes, it just helps you withdraw your mind from all other distractions, all other times and all other places, and just become centered in the here and now. The only place that's real, the only place that you're alive in is the here and now, the present moment. So we take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And as we breathe out, we just sink down deeper into the physical form that we are busy occupying at this time. We occupy our body totally with our conscious awareness. When we are not in the body with our conscious awareness, all sorts of other energies may slip in, rather like a house that's left vacant for a long time and vagrants move in. So let's just take a moment to fully occupy our body with our attention, with our awareness. Our awareness is so powerful. It's life itself. So by occupying our body with our attention, we are filling our body with the life force. And this life force has a profound healing effect on every cell in the body. So let's just connect with our feet. So we're dropping our awareness down from our heads into our feet. Just imagine that you can connect directly with the earth beneath our feet. You may have floors between you and the earth. You may have carpets. You may have even perhaps other dwellings beneath you. But just use your power of imagination to connect the soles of your feet with Mother Gaia. And take another deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just bring more of the life force into your bodies. Feeling your legs, feeling where your bum is positioned right now. Perhaps the sensations of the chair or the bed that you're sitting or lying on comes into your awareness. Feel where your hands are resting, in your arms. Bring your attention to your shoulders and just release any tension or stress in your shoulders with the next out-breath. You can make it rather like a loud sigh and sigh it out and just let any worries or concerns drop off you. Relax your neck, relax your arms, your hands. Just breathing deeply, rhythmically, focusing your attention on the out-breath each time. The out-breath is a most important part of the breath because it is a releasing. It's also an act of trust, trusting life, trusting that life will give you the next in-breath. As we breathe out, we connect closer to life, to presence, to the divine. Feel the temperature of the room on your cheeks. You may like to smooth away any worry lines on your forehead or around your eyes. You may like to lighten those cheeks with a little smile. Become aware of the sounds that you can hear. You can hear my voice. What else can you hear? Bring your attention now to the thoughts that are drifting through your mind. Notice your thoughts as if they were clouds on a beautiful summer's afternoon drifting through the sky. See that your attention, your awareness is the sky. And the thoughts are just drifting through your attention, your awareness, through that sky on a lazy afternoon. You don't follow the thoughts, you don't try and push them away. You're just the awareness through which the thoughts float. You don't pay any particular attention to them as maybe judging them in any way. Just allow. Become the space of allowing. Take another deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just become even more open to this moment and all that this moment contains. The sensations from the body, the sounds in your ears, the temperature as felt in your cheeks, the sound of my voice. With every in-breath, Feel your heart opening more. And with every out-breath, feel yourself sinking down deeper into the body, into the present moment. Just notice the stillness that underlies all sounds, all sensations, all thoughts. You may find this as an opening to an inner space in your heart. And as you breathe in, you imagine that there is a radiance of light going out into the world from your own heart center, illuminating the world, dispelling the shadows. Notice in your awareness the beauty of this moment, just this moment, here and now. Notice the gift of life and how beautiful it is in this moment. In a direct experience, not in memory or anticipation, but directly in this moment. Now take another deep breath in, right down to your toes this time, right up to the crown of your head, and release, release. And gently, when you're ready, keeping the awareness of stillness, open your eyes. Thank you. You may like to type up in the comments box how you feel now. Hopefully you do feel a bit more centered, a bit more balanced. Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.
Welcome everyone who joined us while the eyes were closed. Thanks everybody. Thanks John. That was lovely. We hope you had a good day today. So
we
we're
had
going
a
to be
nice day
talking.
today.
We did have a lovely day.
Relaxing day. We decided just to take the day off completely and went to the beach for a beautiful walk on a new beach that we hadn't been to,
That's
and
really beautiful.
with beautiful cliffs, and then we did a nature drive. So we've had a very relaxing day. So our day's been good. Hopefully your day has as well.
So we're talking about making love, not war.
That's
now,
right.
For obvious reasons.
Yes.
With what's going on the planet, and we just thought it would be a good idea to get together and chat tonight. So we have some quite big astrology happening right now. We have the solstice, which is basically yesterday, which is where the sun moves into Cancer and starts its journey there for a month. But we've actually got some really interesting, beautiful energy as well. So we've got a new moon coming up on Thursday. No, the 25th.
Wednesday.
The 25th Wednesday.
Wednesday.
The 25th.
And we've got your birthday coming up on Thursday.
Yes.
That's a big event.
So I'm having a new moon birthday, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And basically what happens at a new moon is the sun and the moon come together at a certain degree in the sky. And this is at 4 degrees of Cancer, for those who want to know. But it's very, very close to the planet Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet that's related to expansion, growth, higher understanding, bigger perspectives, sort of shining our light from a higher perspective. It's the higher mind, not the lower mind. And so this is, it's valid because Jupiter has a 12-year cycle, okay? So it spends around about a year in a sign, and it's only just moved into Cancer. So that gives us a theme for a whole year of that energy. And you actually mentioned it in your lead up where you spoke about the temple, the inner temple. And for me that's very descriptive actually of Jupiter in Cancer, because Cancer represents the home. It represents what we perceive as the home. And that's not just the four walls of the home. So it's actually the inner sanctuary. So it's a year we will be exploring this. If you are a Cancerian, you might be feeling this more. You might be feeling some kind of expansion or some kind of a change, a shift in perspective. What can happen as well is that emotions, because the moon is going to be in Cancer, can be bigger and they can be amplified by Jupiter. So that is the other part of it. And so I think it's all for all of us to actually really hold a very sacred inner sanctum space, particularly right now, which is what we're going to talk about. But it's not just now, it's for a year, that's where the focus is for each of us.
Yeah, and whatever happens in the world out there, just know that you are 100% responsible for your inner sanctum. 100%. What happens out there, maybe you're not fully responsible for. But what happens in here, we are 100% responsible for. So, if, as you were saying, if this is our home, which it is, then let's make our home a peaceful place, a beautiful place, a comfortable place, and above all, a sacred place. So that's our responsibility for right now, and also as we journey through the next little while. But I'm sure that the world is going to give us plenty of opportunity to practice our own power, to realize that our point of power is always in the present moment, and that we have the power to choose in this moment peace rather than the conflict that we see in the world around us. So tonight we're talking about making love and not war. And so let's have a look at, first of all, what love is. Because how can we participate in something that we might have some misperceptions about? What is love? How do you see love?
I see it as a transcending of boundaries and a connection, an interconnection between all that is and with all that is, so that there are no you and me, this and that. It's actually the ocean of awareness. That's, for me, that is what I see love. I don't see it as an emotion or as something that you tell somebody. It's a much bigger concept than that. And actually the theme, make love not war, hails back to the 60s, which is where it was all about transcending boundaries and freeing and growing and advocating for peace.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing back then. So we're now at another stage of that once again. But that's, how do you see love?
Yeah, that going back to the 60s about make love not war, that it was a major shift in human consciousness, the 60s.
It was a paradigm shift.
In that up until that era, going to war was a good thing. It was a noble thing. If you were a man, it was the right thing to do, to go to war, and the woman would actually urge you to go and do that. And in the 60s, there was a shift in consciousness, and people started to realize that wars are created by powerful people for their own nefarious ends. Particularly, I mean, the major theme in the 60s was that people realized it was a bankers' war, and that it wasn't beneficial for the country that was being torn apart by war, nor was it beneficial for, particularly in that stage, for America, sending their innocent young men off to fight a war that had pretty much nothing to do with the security of their nation. And it was the very first time that people stood en masse and said no to war. And hopefully we've learned something from that. So love is what the question is. What is love? And I would agree with you absolutely. The analogy of the ocean as the ocean of love is a very apt one, because the ocean, is everywhere all at once. Although we give different names to different parts of the ocean is all interconnected, And for example, everything flows ultimately into the ocean. Every single river goes into the ocean. And I think it was Kyle Gibran said the river trembles before it enters the ocean. And the reason for that is because to truly enter love, one has to give up one's individual identity. So the river knows itself in a certain form, with certain riverbanks, with certain experiences, and it knows that when it enters the ocean, it loses all of that. Yes, it does lose its individual identity. However, it gains something incredibly immense, maybe something that the river couldn't even begin to comprehend. But when it goes into the ocean, it expands. It becomes so much more than it ever was before. And the other thing about the ocean analogy is that the ocean is low. Everything flows down into the ocean, where the thing that separates us from love can be thought of as the mind. And the mind manifests in personality, it manifests in ego. And what does the ego always want? It always wants to be up, to be above, to be superior, to be more than. And yet love is almost a diminishment of that. It's a diminishment of the individual personality. It's a diminishment of the value that we place on the ego. So it's almost to lose yourself in that ocean, which is a moving down from an egoic point of view into something more magnificent, more eternal than anything the ego could ever comprehend, in fact. So love is a felt sense of oneness in our awareness. That's really what love is.
And what is war? War is a separation. It's that and that. It's dualism. There would not be any wars if we actually realized that we were all connected. Why would you go to war? I mean, and we go to war in small ways often, with ourselves, with our people in our lives, judging this one for that and that one for that, and so I think this whole process, as well as for us to see where we go to war in our own lives, and if we can actually start to become less warlike with our own selves or within our own relationships, that ripples out, because it has to, because we are energetic, we're vibrationary. We've often said that, and we are. That's just the way it is. So when we hold a vibration of non-dualism, or of love, or of the ocean of love, or of acceptance, we are rippling that out into the universe. When we hold a vibration of this is wrong, this one's right, this shouldn't be happening, that should be happening, we're actually feeding into the war. So it's just for us to know that, and to see. I think we can. It's easier to see it in our everyday lives, and then to actually make those adjustments and to bring us back home, back in to the heart, because the heart is non-dual, connected to all. I've been reading the autobiography of a yogi, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and really recommend that everybody reads it. But in the very final chapter, Yogananda, whose story it is, they go off and they get stranded somewhere, and they have to spend the night in a hut. And the chap who's driving the little buggy that they're in, or whatever it was, puts bullocks into a little stall and leaves the stall open. And Yogananda says, well, did you close the door? And he says, no. And at that point, they hear the sound of a tiger. I mean, a tiger's pretty scary, very large cat. And he eventually has to go out in the night to go and close the stall door. And obviously nobody goes with him. And as he gets outside, the light that he's got goes out.
It's blown out by the wind.
It's blown out by the wind. And here comes the lion. And it's now walking towards him. It's
not the
lost.
lion.
I mean, not the lion, the tiger.
Tiger.
So basically, the tiger has now lost interest in the bullocks, is now heading towards Yogananda. And obviously his first reaction is probably, it's heading towards me. His next reaction, this is obviously, you're talking about a highly, highly evolved human, was something along the lines, don't quote me, was, I see God in the tiger. In other words, the tiger is me and I am the tiger. So there's no separation. This is not a scary beast. This is just another image
aspect
of me,
of
the divine.
Yeah.
At that point, the tiger rolled over onto its back, and Yogananda stroked its tummy, locked the store, went inside. It's an incredibly powerful story. Because that is, in any other situation, he would have been taken out by the tiger.
That's the power of love. That is the absolute power of love.
That is the power.
And there was a teacher 2,000 years ago, I mean, his whole message was really about love, about taking the log out of our eyes so that we can see clearly. And to see clearly is to see the other as divine, to see yourself as divine, to see yourself in the other, to see that there is only the divine in truth. Yes, there's form, and the form possibly is definitely not the divine. But underneath all form, even if you don't want to talk about the divine, you can talk about life. Underneath all form is life. And life is the ocean. There's only one life, manifesting in myriad of different forms. And what Yogananda did there was he recognized the formless within the form of the tiger. And that recognition is love. And that love changed the frequency, the vibration of that interaction immeasurably. And there was a beautiful interaction between the two of them. And Yogananda wasn't eaten. Beautiful.
It wasn't dinner for the tiger.
Yeah.
But you know, that just it leads you to war, and to you know, so often with war, with any kind of war, we take sides. You know, this country should win. Well, if this country wins, what about that country? If the people in this country are being killed, what about those people in the other country? The war has never worked for humanity. And so if we want to see the change that we want to see in the world, it's to actually hold that neutral space, which is difficult for the ego.
Yeah, so we're going through a fundamental shift at the moment, and the shift is really a shift in perception, perceiving the way we see ourselves, the way we see the world around us. And the old way of seeing the world and ourselves was through the eyes of fear. Fear is about separation, false evidence appearing real, that we're all separate, we're all different, and we all have to struggle and fight to have our needs met. And we're constantly under threat from the other. That's the old world, that's the world of fear. And that teacher 2,000 years ago came to lead us in a different direction, along a different path, the path of love. And love is the perception of oneness. And all war is created at a deep level through the perception of judgment, the perception of the other. Yes, we know wars are created by the bankers and by certain elite, etc., etc. But underneath it all is our individual judgment, our individual condemnation of people different to us. And that is perpetuated through the media. The media is there to divide and create emotions of fear, where what the teacher 2,000 years ago came was to open our hearts to the perception that we are we are the other, we are the brother, the other is ourselves, and to drop those misperceptions of separation. And whatever we judge in the other, we hold in ourselves. That's the other thing. And so part of this transformation is to stop the war within ourselves. You said that earlier. To stop the judgment within ourselves. To stop the condemnation within ourselves. How we speak to ourselves is really how we speak to life. And how we speak to life manifests in the world that we meet. If we are at war with life, with the life within us, then we're going to have an experience on the outside that's riddled with conflict. And so this journey is a journey that starts by coming home to the truth of who and what we really are, and who and what everything really is. It's a fundamental shift in perception, away from the perception of separation to the perception that we at a non-form level, at an energetic level, at a level of unconditioned consciousness, are all the same. You don't have to fight for peace. Peace is the flowering of the lack of conflict within individuals.
That's lovely. Yeah, and I think that when we, You know, when one goes into judgment, which is a typical thing for the mind to do, right? We hear something, we watch something, we have our own perceptions, our own preferences, our own understanding of things. We each see things from a completely different perspective. So you guys are seeing something completely differently to what we are seeing in this moment. We might be having a similar experience, but it's seen from different lenses. And whether one is right and one is wrong is actually quite irrelevant, because all that happens is that fighting and war creates death and destruction, and it's actually, fighting is very tiring.
Well, war creates suffering,
And
more suffering. That's what it does create,
yeah,
more suffering.
It creates more suffering.
And
exactly.
so this path at the moment is to end suffering. That's the pivotal point that we have, the choice that we're getting to make in this moment. Sorry,
and we have that potential in each moment to end it. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that if I find myself going to war, it's up to me whether I'm going to go to war. It's a choice in a moment. And if we are still enough, if we are centered enough in our own being, we can make that choice over and over. So even if there's the tendency to go into judgment or the tendency to go into war, it's the noticing of that tendency and then bringing yourself back into non-duality, into neutrality. Because in that space, we are so much more powerful, we can be so much more useful, and we do spread that vibration into whatever situation it is. And I think because it might be invisible, we might not think that actually happens, but it does. It absolutely does. And the more of us that do that, things start to change. So that's our job right now.
Yes, to recognize that all the judgments we have within us that create the inner conflict and as well as feed the outer conflict come from a judgmental mind. And the mind is a wonderful tool. It's designed to help us to judge hot from cold, good from bad, I like and I don't like. That's edible, that's not edible. The mind is a wonderful tool, but it's not meant to run our lives. It's meant to be our servant. And now's the time to take back our power from the judgmental mind. Allow the mind to have its judgments, but you just don't follow it. You become the seat of awareness behind the mind, and you seat that awareness not in fear, not in the perception of separation anymore, but in the depth of the perception of love, in the depth of life itself, in the ocean of life. And so, yes, you can have your preferences. Yes, you can have your judgments out there, but they're not focal. They're not central stage anymore. They're just on the periphery. Your central stage is always peace, always love, always connection, empathy, compassion, care for everything. One thing that many people don't see is that love has no specialness. Empathy, compassion has no specialness. It's just an isness. You can't love one person and hate another person. It's impossible. That's just the judgment of the mind, the separateness of the mind. Love is a felt sense of oneness in your awareness. And oneness is oneness. There's no two-ness in oneness. Just one. So how can you have an enemy when you have a perception of oneness? How can you unjustly or unrighteously judge anything outside of yourself when you are the formless that everything else is at the same time? Love is a perception of the formless within the form. And we have to be the change we desire to see in the world. It's not going to happen by someone else. It's not going to happen through leaders. This is a time of letting go of the need for leaders. This is a time of coming back to your own authentic power and choosing more wisely than we've ever chosen before. Choosing love rather than fear. Unity rather than separation. That's this pivotal point that every human being is given to choose more wisely.
And it's a choice in each moment. And you know, if you speak to people most people and you ask them what they really, well, I'll ask you all, you can just give it some consideration. What do you really, really, really want in your life? What do you want? And at the beginning there might be, well, I want more money, or I want a boyfriend, or I want a better house, or whatever. Well, what would that give you? What do you really, really, really want? And if you really, really sit with that, you might find the answer is something akin to peace. And I mean, we've spoken to hundreds, thousands of people during our times together, and it usually goes to that. I want peace. Okay, so then how do we get peace? We have to be the peace. So Gandhi said, you be the change that you want to see in the world. What does that mean? It means on a daily basis, in our own lives, choosing it over and over. Should I go to war right now, either with myself or with someone else? It's just a choice. And if we do go, then we come back. We forgive ourselves and we come back. Bring ourselves back home again and again and again. And we're being assisted to do this with the current energies. We really are, to actually see things more clearly.
Just to realize that you mentioned it earlier, that we are energy beings. And the field of energy is what's called non-local. So in other words, if you change one part of a field of energy, the whole field changes instantaneously across the whole field. Now, human consciousness is a field. And as we participate in love rather than fear, as we make an individual choice in each and every moment to support the vibration, the frequency of love, the perception of connection rather than separation, that changes the entire field of humanity in that very moment. And, as Michelle was saying earlier, so, peace is really underlying what most people want. People want peace. And people say, yes, I want peace, but I want that to be sorted out first. I want X, Y, Z to happen. I want that to be done, then we can have peace. No, peace is an unconditional state. It's not a conditional state. It's not conditional on anything outside of us being different to what it is. It's just a choice in this moment to let go of the judgments, the resistance to life. And people often say, but if I didn't judge life, nothing would change. Well, you judging life and judging situations and circumstances, judging people around you, judging yourself, is not a positive vibration, a frequency for positive change to take place. Love is the field that ultimately heals all misperceptions, all vibrations of negative energy. Love is the power that changes all of that. So rather choose love in each and every moment. And what is love? But acceptance, appreciation, allowing the world to be as it is. If there's something that you can do positively in this moment to assist humanity to be more comfortable with less suffering, yes, do it. But realize that your primary power is in the energy you hold in your heart. What we hold in the heart manifests, multiplied by other forces and energies in the world around us. And this war that we're in right now, the highest aspect of this war is not a physical war, it's a spiritual war. And you have to choose very carefully as to which side you want to support. That which uses the manipulative tool of fear and the perception of separation, or do you want to participate in the new earth of connection, of love, compassion? Which world do you wish to grow? Because every thought you think and every feeling you feel is an act of creation.
Yeah, and that's the intention that we hold. I'm just thinking about this move, these planetary movements like Jupiter. It's about intention. It's the archer. Where you pulling your bow back and shooting that arrow into? Are you shooting it into more war, or are you shooting it into peace? Because if we all hold an intention of peace, there's a much greater chance that miracles can actually happen. They've been known to happen before, where things have completely changed. course in terms of world affairs and all sorts of things. So it's a rising. It's the great rising up.
I'm going to say
of consciousness.
Yeah, I'm going to say that miracles are actually natural. They're the natural way of being in the world. I mean, Albert Einstein was quite clear on that. He said there's only two ways to see the world. One is as if miracles do not exist, and the other one is if everything's a miracle. He says I choose the latter. And so miracles is the very true nature of reality. But we have to get out of the way because we are such a strong creator. If we're creating thoughts of judgment, of war inside us, then that will manifest on the outside. That will block that flow, that intelligence of life. And that flow, if it's blocked, will create more suffering on this planet. Suffering for yourself and suffering for those around us. So this is really to choose the path of least suffering for yourself and for all those in the world. And it starts right here, at home, within us. That's the important part. It doesn't start out there. It starts within us, all as an individual. And we find that as we move through these times, that we'll all be experiencing very different realities. Those who choose to hang on to fear and that false evidence of manipulation and separation will, in fact, meet that vibration pretty quickly back in their own lives. And those who choose the perception of oneness will live a very different reality to those still choosing the third and fourth dimensional world of fear.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at this theme of the inner nurturing. Sort of, we're calling it sacred nurturing in our inner space group this month in July. So I think that's going to be very, very, very important for what we're actually experiencing on our planet. So join us if you haven't already for that.
Yeah, Inner Space is just a community that we have, an online community. We meet up twice a month on Zoom, 90-minute Zoom call, and we collectively focus our attention on clearing away all the blockages within us to this field of love, to this field of divine presence. Mm-hmm. And so this month in July we're going to be focusing on that.
Yeah, on sacred nurturing. What is nurturing? Nurturing is caring for, tending, growing, allowing something to grow and to blossom. And so it's self-love. Starts with self-love actually, and then that ripples out to everything else. Everything that we do, everything we touch. Can we do it with a nurturing touch? Can we do it in a sacred way? That for me is because our inner space is aligned with the planetary energy to some degree every month. That's why I try and keep it themed. And that's, for me, that's what the theme is. It's nurturing. How are we nurturing ourselves? Are we nurturing ourselves? Are we nurturing others? Are we nurturing our homes, our practices, our passions, our hobbies? What are we nurturing? Or are we focused so much on the anxieties and the worries and the awful stuff that's happening that we're actually not nurturing? We're not growing anything. So that's just a little bit of a directional focus for all of us to look at.
Yes, and one of the questions which one has to look at there and ask yourself this question is, who is the you that is needing nurturing? Is it the separate you? Is it the conditioned you? Is it the you that perceives itself vulnerable? Is it the egoic you? Is it the personality you? Or is it the real you? To truly nurture is to come back to what we call the vertical plane. And that is a plane of the perception of oneness. So it's to nurture the oneness. So that we will look at in July. And then also in September, we have a live retreat lined up. I think what date was it? The 19th. 19th of September. We have a 4 or 5 day retreat in our most favorite place of all, Hogsback in the Eastern Cape. And so booking is open for that. If you'd just like to maybe just email us or connect with us. And the website will be up
this week.
This week, yeah. So the details will be available. But just contact us if you'd like to join us there. These online sessions that we have are wonderful and beautiful, and thank you for all the positive feedback. But there's nothing like a live interaction for 3-4 days in the most beautiful place, and the energy of Hogsback is so supportive of the shift in human consciousness. Truly amazing. So you can contact us there. Thank you. Do you want to draw a card?
Yeah. Let me grab one. Okay.
If you have any questions or comments, please type them up in the comments section. We don't always get to them while we are live, but we do get to them afterwards. So if you'd like to send us a message, it's really great. And thank you for the hearts. We really appreciate that. And a reminder again, if you're watching on YouTube, to please subscribe to our channel and do press the bell so that you get notified of more and more work like this that we do. Thank you. We've got a card. You choose. We have a whole pack of affirmation cards, which we don't choose beforehand. And Michelle just pulled one randomly out of the pack. And it's very good. It's in alignment with tonight's theme. So it's a green card, and green is obviously to do with the heart. So that's lovely. And you'll incorporate this in the meditation. And then we'll take a photograph of this and put this up on the Facebook page. And it can be your tool for dissipating the war in your own perception and in the world around you through the power of your own heart.
Okay, so let's just settle in, and to end the evening, let's just do a short meditation. I'll lean forward so my voice doesn't go too soft. Alright, so just take a deep breath in. And a slow, long out breath. Just letting go of all the air. Another deep, beautiful breath in, all the way up to the top of your lungs, all the way up. Pause for a moment, and then let it all out. Let all the day's events and everything that's happened today, let it all out. Just give it up right now. Another deep breath in. And now just release the whole week. Anything you've seen, read, experienced, anything that you've been through, just let it all go. Let it all melt off you. As if it was just washing over you and washing through and out. Emptying you out. For just being present now. So imagine a beautiful white light over your head in a disc shape. Imagine this white light moving down through your body, almost like a channel, like a column of light. Moving all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and all the way down, right to the ground and into the earth beneath you. Now imagine this column growing and expanding, growing outwards, and outwards, and outwards, and outwards. Pure, beautiful light. Infinitely, this column grows and grows and grows and expands. It allows you to be a channel for love, for peace, a channel for kindness, gentleness, acceptance. Allow your focus to move into the center of your heart and consciously soften and open that center. Imagine that your actual heart could expand and soften with each breath, allowing your heart to be filled more and more with this beautiful white light. allowing this white light to radiate and ripple out from you into the universe. Or you might want to imagine other people standing in a big circle around the earth. Big circle, holding hands, each radiating the light from their heart. Forming a circle of light and love. Simply radiating it towards the earth. Towards every person who suffers. Every person who is in pain, in anxiety. May they be liberated. May they be at peace. May they be loved. And just continuing to bring your focus back into your heart. With each breath we can bring ourselves back into heart coherence, into the here and now, into the only moment that exists, which is now. Just continue to let this light radiate from your heart to the hearts of all of humanity, to all sentient beings, to all. Feeling, if you can, the oneness, the connection. And our affirmation for the evening is: life is perfect despite my current perspective. Life is perfect despite my current perspective. It's quite a beautiful affirmation to bring into your week, into your days. If you feel yourself going into anxiety, worry, concern, you feel yourself thinking that things should be different, just repeat this affirmation. It brings you home. Life is perfect despite my current perspective. And now bringing your energy in to a beautiful core center line of rainbow colored light, stretching from above your head to beneath your feet. Lighting up at the heart. Taking a deep breath in. And a long slow breath out. You can open your eyes whenever you feel like it.
Thank you, that was lovely. I like my rainbow of light.
Good.
And this card, life is perfect despite my current perspective. And to know that we're talking about life, not the story of life. Most people confuse the two. They think their life is their story. No, no. Life is not a story. Life is not past. Life is not future. Life is in fact not the form. It's the formless. Underneath all form, it's presence. So presence is perfect, despite my current perception about the story. So that's the way that card can be read. I'll photograph it and put it up. Life is the ever-present, divine, sacred essence in each moment. That's what life is. And it is perfect, despite the external world and my perception of the external world. So that's really lovely. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Thank you for adding your energy to this satsang. And we look forward to catching up with you in 2 weeks' time. If you want to join in the space, it's on our journeysofawakening.com website. You can join there. Lots of love, and we look forward to catching up with you